Okay. Okay. I have eaten half a sandwich. It's time. So, since last time I worked on this thing a little bit more, Grand Flying Machine made this strange. I noodled some lines together with a ruler, essentially, yeah. And I kind of wanted to do something more with the wings. I'm gonna apply it to both of the wings, try to integrate it in some way, carve it into it. Hmm. I, I mean, some of this I need to kind of improv a little bit because I did not completely think through how this would fit in here. Okay. Start by removing these. Been a couple of days. I have to think through the process again. What did I actually do? To all of these. Funny that you can erase with the brush, but not with the eraser on over it. Hello. Yeah, I mean we're cooking this guy that I was cooking last time. Started from a very rough sketch of this thing, and then suddenly it became this incredible monstrosity. Right now, I am working on effectively making these wings not as bare as they were originally. So I'm giving them some sort of rooting inscription. This thing I have over here. Alive? Maybe. Excellent question. Could not tell you for sure. Partially for certain. I am actively thinking up what this thing is as I am drawing it. I don't know what it is yet. But some of it is alive. This part is. That part is. This, maybe not. But I wanted to have these sort of inscriptions. I mean, it's some sort of mechanical combination of things, So, I need to go in here, yeah. And I essentially just drew this thing. And then said, like, this sign inscription thing here, and then just put it on the arm and said, what do we actually make of this? And then suddenly things have changed in the meantime. So now I kind of need to make that work all of a sudden. And make that inscription make sense insofar as the actual creature is concerned. Can I get the... There we are. That erases everything. Very nice. The centerpiece then. Something like that. I think makes sense. That's a significantly more cohesive rune. And of course I'm carving it out. Excellent. Okay, good. But I am kind of thinking this into... Trying to think this into one of my world building projects. Because I think that's fun. So if I can make something reasonable out of it... Oh no, Wrong layer. Get that out of here. There we go. So if I can make it fit, it's gonna be part of the world I kind of call the Earth Lacerated. And it's carrying around something along the lines of liquid starlight below the shadowed sky. So, gotta put that in somehow in the background as well. I'm thinking it might be like a man-made construct made out of something like a large bestial heart or something that lives inside. Three hours. Yeah, Doom soundtrack. Now you're hearing the Celeste soundtrack. It's what I felt like putting on right now. Very different. It's almost gonna be faster actually than trying to remember how I set this up to remove this. And then do another little sneaky trick. I do still have the runes down there, yeah. But alright, check this out. By the way, this is the trickster method. If you Control C, Control V this, we have a second layer here. We take it outside. Fast and the Low Gear is a very good, like, I think, description of how Celeste feels. It's a very, very, like, swift game, and it's a very, very precise game. But it's not like a high tempo intensity game, if that makes sense. Alright. Not that one, cancel. I need this little guy. Alright, now check this out, by the way. This is something I figured out I could do recently that I think is really cool. So... So you gotta get these in order. And... Yep! It is sick! It is so sick that you can do this. And it just lets you, like, put things into perspective that otherwise wouldn't be, and you can kind of like align them like this and then draw over is the energy. So it lets me make these sort of symbols and actually put them somewhere without like putting intensive amounts of effort into really worrying about how it would look. And then, you know, we do this and then, okay, we're gaming. It's so nice. So what? Okay, you played Celeste, but only 1.5. Eldritch God warping reality. You know, I fancy myself an Eldritch God sometimes. So that is me. But you played a bit of Celeste way back when, but not very much of it. If you own the game, I'd strongly recommend actually just like putting more time into it. It's a very nice game. It's somewhere. It's not on Steam. Ah, yeah, that makes sense. I see that. Alright, I think this kind of reads... It's a little bit tough. These are the, like, mess on top. I think I might want to make this just slightly cleaner for a better read. And then put mess on top afterwards. Because suddenly there's a lot of detail here, which is like, I mean, kind of part of the idea because the blank wings did not really fit into the jive, but I need them to not be too distracting either. It's kind of the thing. Um, so I need to think about how I do that in a good way. Infestation. I don't know. Honestly, I'm kind of thinking this is something that was unleashed into the wild and had a purpose, and then just slowly broke down over time. Um, which fits into yeah. Someone took a bit very adequate description. Somebody or something or some natural disaster just ate this thing. Tons of possibilities. Given the world I'm trying to set it in, there's basically no real way to navigate the outside world without having massive issues. So it's not like it's too far fetched. Oh, I accidentally fit surprisingly well with the new one, even though I was painting over the old one, but loosely because I didn't feel it fit. That's funny. What? Ask Hoopu. Issue is that they're working under Valve now, making Deadlock. So sorry, can't really get that one in there. It could be. It's an interesting sentiment. It fits with the like some of the energy of the weird, both like destroyed artifact thing they have going on and the weird monsters. I don't feel like Risk of Rain is as much like flesh monstrosity, but could probably make it fit anyways. Do I want to completely remove the flesh monstrosity from this side just to make it read better? Maybe. Alright, see you around. Enjoy whatever you gotta go do. Cat? Great, great thing to do. I feel like now the line weight of much of this has become too small compared to what's going on up here. So I'm going to see if thickening it just a bit helps meet out the issue of attention. Because really those bold lines kind of draw too much. I don't know if it's too detailed, but the bold lines really take your attention away. It might also be too detailed. Also, this thing is certainly not centered feeling. I wonder if I can get it to obey me by just doing this. That looks better immediately. Nice. I feel like it certainly added a lot to the whole thing to have this, but it also feels really distracting. Which is perhaps not surprising. I'm gonna try for a little bit just to see if I can make it stand out slightly less, but otherwise I'll just leave it here. No, it's an experiment either way, and I think it's a relatively successful one. Differences are relatively subtle, but they're helping. I also think perhaps... I want to try something else as well. Now... I'm going to try hatching first. Hatching might be incredibly counterproductive to this, but I want to see what happens if I'm just like... Side of this, I do like a cross hatch. To like harmonize it a little bit more so it isn't all white. Whether it makes it more or less distracting, I don't know. But I think the grouping of surfaces might help a bit in calming down the senses looking at this. Thing is also the part where I should be using a tone instead of doing all this work. I've been thinking I should use those more instead of just doing hatching all the time, because hatching takes a lot of time that I don't need to spend on all this. I genuinely feel like this helps. It's not gonna be like this though. I have a values thing down here. It's the big, I don't know. Yeah, this is an attempt earlier. I don't feel like I need it very much. Oh. Right, okay. Over here. Values. Here we are. I kind of feel like part of the reason why it's so distracting is because like the brain looks at all this over here, and the indication of how it actually all works is subtle enough that like because I don't really want it to be like super deeply inscribed into the ship or into the wing, if that makes sense. And so I feel like when this exists without clear distinctions between the inside and the outside beyond the slight differences in line width, the brain really tries hard to solve for what the heck is going on over there. That makes it really distracting. Um, but making these very clear distinctions of like this is the one and this is the other with this tone, I think just helps calm down like the section because it makes it so much more distinctively separated. Oh, that helps a lot. That helps a shit ton. Very nice. I feel like I probably should go apply to the other wing immediately, but kind of want to just work on another part of the piece. What is this mysterious layer 5? Is this, Excellent question. Where? What are you? Anyway, bye. I want a fracture up here. That is so close to being readable as hills right now. Like, this ain't. There sure is a lot that could be. But quite distinctively, you're looking down on this thing, right? It's not like, oh boy, side view. I kind of want it to be like a, you know, this kind of energy. And for that intent and purpose, I kind of want the horizon line to be like, I mean, arguably the horizon line should be like up here, but I want it to feel like I'm above. And the horizon line gets all the way up there if you're looking down on it, but then we don't get any sky up here, and it's kind of boring, you know? The viewer has to be above this, so the horizon line is at the very least, like, here, no? I mean, it's get into the worry of, like, if I want this thing to appear big, I would need many things down here to be small. And that kind of relationship, that's not something I'm super practiced in, but I can try. I just, yeah, I want a segment of sky. Oh. think one interesting thing is kind of like if you think about how clouds kind of disappear into the horizon. And I want the notion of like glass shards do the same. They kind of still just sit like big boxes up here, no? And then they like go down towards the horizon in these like very noticeable rows. So they still have that kind of shape to them. That's basically like it's a rectangle. And if I need to do that with like something like a glass shard, I need to think very sincerely about along which dimensions this thing is shattered. For real, this does not feel very efficient. I feel like I'm just making a worse or slightly wackier lasso tool right now. I need to lasso tool this anyways, no? I just have to have my lasso tooling is just less problematic. Lol. That's an incredibly useless process step. Okay. Hello, Mr. Raddington. Welcome to Cursed Ship. I've been working on this thing for some time. Worked on it last stream too. I am currently sitting around looking at the background somewhat to begin considering how to do this, and this is of course a terribly hard thing to do. Most notably because I decided some point during the creation of this that wouldn't it be funny if I kind of thought about what this was and put it in one of my world building projects. So now the sky has to be shattered. And that makes things difficult, no? Yeah, we do love cracks damage. The problem is I need to make convincing glass shard like sky. And I don't know how to do that. And behind that we have the stars. So we have what is effectively a sundown on the shards of the sky, and then the abyss beyond behind that. That's what I'm trying to represent. And how do we make that work with the values here? Yeah, actually that works. I'm gonna move this gradient a bit, I feel. I'm gonna try making a third layer for this sunset. I think the real solution is to there's nothing on this layer anymore. Bye. Going with like an airbrush or something, or a soft erasure. I just hate how airbrush looks, man. This looks ass. Hmm. Let's keep this. Should be. It's one of those things where it's like airbrush is really good if you're very skilled at using it and you're good at doing it patiently and slowly. But it's also one of those really funny things where you see like so many like especially new artists who don't know how to use it, who just want to make like really soft round things, and they just go to the airbrush and they use it everywhere and it just looks really bad. I just think that has like corrupted my view of the airbrush. So I can't think of it as good. So many clipping layers. What I should probably be doing is using just my regular dense watercolor, which I completely forgot how I set this thing up. Oh. I pressed the shortcut that I forgot I had. Everything is okay though. Doxed. Excuse me. All right. Right. What I wanted to do was I was in here and I was trying to. Notably, Control Q is set up to be quit. Well, one should know this. Um. The thing is, I think last time I was messing with this, I was trying to. I was messing with opacity and brush density. I previously said it was density of paint. So, I have to think about that. Da, da, da. Because if I can set this to the erasing thing, I can reduce the opacity by a significant amount. You can begin making what I think are like significantly nicer gradients, in parentheses rougher. But I would like to work in with the. Yeah, we have density of paint here. amount of paint here. Which make for much nicer blending in general. I don't want it there, I wanted it on the sky itself. Which means I need another layer here. No, it's this one, yes. It's not that one. It's this one. I kind of have this vision of at least the liquid inside of this thing glowing. And there was a sort of strange appeal earlier to the notion that this gradient down here became lighter as you got closer. Yeah, growing liquids. It's something like starlight in there, right? I feel like it's the background idea is slightly directionless right now, but I think putting it down was nice. I'm gonna deal with the other wing real quick. It does not have its runes yet. This was the process before you arrived. I'm gonna show you some magic. I actually think that's closer. Yeah, that's easier to work with. Something like that. And then just so I can see what's happening. I need to estimate where this is behind. It's kind of a funny one. Especially because the second I press OK, I can't do anything else, and I can't really zoom at the moment. Can I? No, I can't. Feel like, is that about the middle of the wing? Maybe not. I'm gonna put this one slightly farther down. This looks better. Okay, there we are. Okay. Now we got that clarity. Now the real question is how to make a massive amorphous blob of flesh appealing to look at. And make it clear what it is and how it's distinct from the rest. You know what? You're right. All blobs are beautiful, but how do I bring out the most of their beauty, right? If you have a blob competition, how do you make yours win? That's the real question. Hmm. All right. I don't want the line thickness of this to be very large over here, but I do want to outline just a few of these things real quick. Just give it more dimension. Okay. I think this amorphous blob is a little bit too amorphous right now. I cannot tell where it starts and ends, and that's a little bit of an issue. Also, I think I made a grave mistake. Indeed, I did. I put this on the background layer. There we go. Problem fixed. Alright, so... looking at this, what are we actually working towards here? Also, this another massive background line in here. Get out of here. Yeah. I'm just gonna remove most of those. I think this section here is the biggest offender. Just because I think I was just like making random noodles there instead of really making something where I was like, that's the shape. It's around this corner where the forms are not very well defined. Be thinking about them a little bit more. Certainly more lumpy. Much more distinct in what it is. I don't know if I want it actually to be like going up against the side here, if I just want it to be, yeah, I think I'd rather have this be clearly distinct. Just for the readability purposes, that like that's what that is. Unless I have like one or two individual tendrils prop over. Like I could do this. Or like I say, okay, this just like a thing popping up through and like it's going down here. But I think that's as much as I should be doing, also because the section in here has a lot of visual clutter already. But I think doing that kind of makes it feel a little bit more out of control, which is good. I also had some over here on the other wing earlier, but I removed it for clarity. I'm wondering if I should put it back. This section's also like really... I've been looking at a lot of this like small texture stuff, especially from manga recently, off stream, trying to do some studies of how to make these things work. And I feel a lot more confident in it already compared to, you know, last time. You can just look at how this looked just a few seconds ago. It's a lot more just scribbles. Like, crap load more clarity in there. Much better. I really do think it's fun to like go with Control-C back and forth, look at the differences. Honestly, I should do more time-lapse recording on these canvases, because then that makes it really easy. You can just go back and look. Really cool feature of Clip Studio. I think, let me see, I don't know how it exactly works. Time-lapse, that's here. Well, let's see, it should start from now. And then I don't know if it keeps going if I close the canvas and open it again or not. But we'll see. I've also seen another streamer use it as like a pause screen, just open the time-lapse thing. I think that's a really cool idea. Like, I'm taking a break, look at the time-lapse. That's tight. I don't know if it works very well for... I mean, because like this canvas is really large, right? So the actual question is, if I want to do that, I might want to be working with smaller canvases. The reason I did it so large initially was because like normally I just meander on canvases, but on stream I have been like way more focused on the specific things I'm working with. So perhaps I should just be working on smaller canvases, switching back and forth if I need to. It's this one. Wait, is it the song? Yeah, it is. It's the song. The song started. When the song is done, I think I take like a stretch break. I've been drawing for nearly an hour and a half. I feel like that is a lot better clarity now. I do want to mess a little bit more with the outline though, because that always helps things look better. Uh, I do wonder if it's like notable or noticeable that I'm like facing away from my mic when talking when I do it. So it is set to be pretty directive. That reads better. Okay, well, I think it's supposed to be just that one. I don't really want this one, I'll be honest. Bye. Should clean up a bit down here eventually. I should also, I think all these are, yeah, we don't need these anymore. There we go. And quite plausibly, I should get in there and like, with this section here, if I want this to be glowy, like I want the inside wall to be distinct, which is why right now it's hatched. But I was thinking about just putting like a tone on it. And I still think I can make the glowy work with just a tone. Also, this is a really heinous overlap here. I'm just gonna make this not as heinous with these two. Da, 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 da. think I want a distinct background first here. It's a little better. I want it to be very clear what part of this is and isn't like a overgrown mess in some sense. And it needs to have a very distinctively different shape for that to be clear, and then this outline needs to be obvious. Kind of working, a little bit sloppy. Once again, one of those things where I'm like, I'd probably be better at this if I'd ever studied it in my life. Kind of effects of glow. I really do want to get more into actually thinking about values and painting some point soon. Probably within the next month or two. Values, yeah. You know, like pride. It's my favorite value. It's about a you know, looks like a 7 or so. Okay. All right. The song is over. I need to make sure I don't ruin my shoulder, so I will BRB and go for have some stretching. Thank you. All right. I'll be back in, I don't know, some 10 minutes maybe. Okay. All right, let's get back to it. I do want to check one thing before I immediately return, which is what if I just reduce the canvas right now? So, I don't know if this breaks anything in terms of the actual recording. So let's see. Oh, God damn it. I need to be like out here, edit, change canvas size. Uh, I wonder if this immediately broke the time lapse. Let's see. No, it just has it from all this, and then it's like, nah, but we reduced. Which, I mean, is what it should be doing, so that makes sense. But now things should be more visible. I am thinking, like, oh, I think it's nice to have these larger canvases for if I'm just, like, sketching random stuff, but I might want to, like, the second I have a sketch, move it to another one. Just to be able to make that recording and make it nice. Because right now, for sure, I'm only looking at this thing. Oh shit, we ran out of Celeste. It's all over. I need to find a new thing to put on. Oh no. Mr. Rat, you have any suggestions? Yeah, she died. Right now I am more soundtrack based. I am staring at the complete Skullgirls soundtrack. I think I'm just gonna play that. I do wonder how much of this soundtrack on Spotify is actually the like story mode music, which is not as hype as the battle music. I don't feel like I've ever sat down and just listened to the entirety of that soundtrack, so I feel like I just like spoofed through for like the good stuff most of the time when I've been rummaging in it. I'm wondering if this mood is too chill for the sincerely evil nature of what I'm drawing. I'm feeling personal whiplash. I mean, evil can't be. I just don't feel like this one is very chill. Just looking at it, I don't see very much calm in these eyes. Actually, you know what would be real? It'd be incredibly real. It's a bit more chaotic now, which is nice. Before I had all these a little bit too evenly spaced. Didn't look quite right. Oh. Beginning to look much more like water than it did before. Of course, the Internet soundtrack also has a significant amount of story mode stuff. But, I don't feel like it's as much. Let's just see how this looked. Well, I can't even go that far back, all things considered. Yeah, that's an improvement. I actually have a better idea on how I want to do this in terms of making this not stand out in a bad way. Bum, 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 bum. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. See you around. Alright, I've actually been streaming for close to 2 hours now. Or I have more than 2 hours. So I think this will be it for the time being. I'm gonna head off. Perhaps I'll work some more on this. Study some things off stream. I'll see. I'll come back, I think, on either Friday or Saturday for more stuff. For now, I'm leaving. Bye bye.